Hey guys, so this is today's warm up. Reminder, if you are at home without internet, you're going to want to pause this and go ahead and do it. You're going to want to take a picture or save it on a document on your device and then upload it to the jump drive so that I can look at it whenever you turn your jump drive back in. If you are at home and you do have internet, you need to head on over to Assessments and look for the 413 warm up and go ahead and do that. Okay. Okay, so today our I can statement or our goal that we're trying to achieve by the end of this lesson is I can calculate the probability of a simple event. So you guys actually did this whenever I was out on maternity leave, but I need to make sure that you really understand it before we move on to compound events. Because if we don't get simple events, there's no way we can do compound. So some of you are going to remember this and you're going to zoom right through it. Other people might have some issues. Remember, if you have issues, you are to be emailing me, not clicking show answer on assessments unless you have emailed me. If you click show answer without contact, that is going to affect the grade on the assignment. Okay? So make sure that you are contacting Miss Brown for help. Okay, so before we get started on notes, I want to go over quickly what a simple event is. So a simple event is when just one event. Okay, so that's what a simple event is. It's just when one thing's occurring. So that means you might just roll a dice, or you could flip a coin. It's not where you're rolling a dice and then flipping a coin that becomes complex. It's simple. You're just picking a shirt. Very, very simple. And the way that we find probability, is number of favorable over total outcomes. So if you think about it, favorable outcomes, those are the outcomes that you want to occur. How many of them would satisfy what you're looking for? And total outcomes is how many outcomes are there in all for this situation. And what we're going to do is we're going to run through a bunch of examples together, and then you're going to have an assessments assignment. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and go over to the notes. So this first set of examples that we're going to do has to deal with these cards right here. And the question says that the set of cards below has 3 background styles: solid, stripes, and checkers, and 3 shapes: stars, squares, or triangles. One card is chosen at random. Okay, so the first one says, well, we want the probability, that's what that means, of getting stripes. So our favorable is that we want stripes. So to get the numerator of your fraction, you need to see how many of them have stripes. So I count 1, 2, 3. There's 3 favorable with stripes out of my total. Well, in total, there are 12. Well, I need to simplify 3 over 12 down. Both of those can be divided by 3. And my probability is now 1 out of 4. There's a 1 out of 4 chance as getting a striped card. Okay, so that's pretty simple, right? T says the probability of getting a star. So again, we need to find the favorable outcomes that would give us a star if we chose it. So I count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There's 5 cards with a star that would make you happy, that gives you what you want. The 5 favorable outcomes, and then the total amount of cards is still 12. Well, I can't simplify that down, so I just leave it as 5 over 12. Okay. Now R looks different. R looks different because it says, okay, well, we want the probability of solid or checkered. That means that you would be happy if you drew a solid or a checkered card. Either way. So solid would make you happy, or checkered. That's like you going to get food and you telling mom, okay, either chicken nuggets or a hamburger. You're fine with either one. So that means we need to count the number of solids and the number of checkered cards. Excuse me. So if I count the number of solids, there's 1, 2, 3, 4. Number of checkered, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So there are 9 cards within these 12 that are either solid or checkered. So that's a 9 out of 12. Now that 9 out of 12 wouldn't be exactly correct because we can simplify it down. We can divide those both by 3. I'm going to move it over here and we would get 3/4. Okay. T, that's different. And it's different from R by just one word. This one has an or, this one has an and. So up here, the example I used was mom's going to get you food. And you say, okay, I'm fine with either chicken nuggets or a cheeseburger. So you're fine if she comes home with either one of those. D, you say, I want chicken nuggets and a hamburger. So mom has to come home with both for you to be happy. So now we're looking for cards that have both checks, they're checkered, and they have a square with them. So like this card right here, it's checkered, but it's not got a square. So it would not work. So let's see if we've got some, here's a checkered with a square. Ooh, we got one checkered with a square. This one doesn't work because it's checkered with a triangle. That doesn't work. Here's got a square, but it's got stripes. Doesn't have both. We've got to have both checkers and a square. So we have 2 out of the 12 meet that criteria. And both of those can be divided by 2 to give us a 1/6 chance. You go ahead and try E. So go ahead and pause this video, try E on your own, and then come back and see if it's right. Okay, give you a second to do that. Okay, so E, solid and a triangle. So again, remember, this is like you telling mom, I want chicken nuggets and a hamburger. You gotta have both. We need both of these. Solid and a triangle. So I'm looking for solid, that doesn't work. Okay, 1. I only count 1 card out of the 12. And that can't be simplified. So there we go. Okay, we're going to look at another situation together with marbles. So they tell us there are 2 blue, 6 yellow, 10 red, 3 green, 5 orange, and 4 purple marbles in a jar. 1 marble's chosen at random. So this picture obviously does not represent this situation. With these types of word problems, you're not really looking at a picture. I go ahead and I write down my total because you're always going to need your total as your denominator. So 2 plus 6 is 8, plus 10 is 18, plus 3 is 21, plus 5 is 26, plus 4 is 30. So there are 30 marbles in the jar. S wants the probability of red. So we need a red marble to be happy. How many red options are there? Well, there's 10. There's 10 red marbles in that bag, or that jar. So there's 10 favorable possibilities out of 30 in all. Well, I can simplify that by dividing by 10. I apologize for the active thing for refocusing all the time. But 10 divided by 10 is 1. 30 divided by 10 is 3. There's a 1/3 chance that you would pull a red marble. Okay, E. Ooh, it's that or right there. So do you need a red, yellow, and a purple? No. We are just happy if we have red, yellow, or purple. So there's red, there are 10 of those. There are 6 yellows and 4 purples. So if I'm happy with any of these, I would add them together. So that would be 20 out of 30. Well, that would not be a good answer. We got to simplify it down. So simplified, that's 2 out of 3 chance. Okay. You go ahead and try A. Pause and try. It's probability of green or blue, then come back. So I'm happy if I get a green or a blue. Well, I've got 3 greens and 2 blues. Since I'm happy with either one, I would add them together. That's a 5 out of 30 chance. And we can divide both of those by 5 and get 1/6. Okay. Next one, probability of orange, purple, or yellow. That's just like right here with red, yellow, or purple. So we're going to get number of orange. There are 5 of those. Purples, there are 4. And yellow, there are 6. And we would add those together and get 16 out of 30. Well, those are both even numbers, so I know I can divide by 2. I would get 8 out of 15. And I'm pretty sure it's as simple as that one gets. Our last example is probability of blue or purple. So there are 2 blues and 4 purples. When I add those together, I get 6 out of 30. Again, we can simplify both of those by 6. And when we do that, we get a 1/5 chance. Okay, so what you're going to do now is if you're at home, you're going to take a picture of this, or it's actually on your jump drive. So go ahead and do it on the jump drive. Write down your answers and save it to the jump drive so you can turn it in to me. If you're at home or at home with internet, so you have internet, you're going to go on over to assessments. Okay, and the first little section of questions has to deal with these. Okay, has to do with these. You are gonna do, you will not do B and you will not do D. Okay, so you're just gonna do A and C for the first one. And then with the second set of questions, you're gonna do A, B, C, and not D. So A, B, and C will be your options. Okay, if you have any questions, again, you need to reach out to me, not click that show answer button. Thanks, guys.